And then I started realizing that, like, there's just no way. There's just, like, no possible way that there's absolutely nothing. There's no reason for us to be on this earth. So, it's hard to think in black and white, right? I think even if you are focusing on the science end.
Everything that you're saying, it's pretty much saying that it takes faith, either to believe in God, either to believe in the energy, either to believe in the universe. It takes faith. But the people that truly, like 100% believe in manifestation, pretty much that's what they believe. I am here today with my friend Karlee. This is actually a second time that we do a podcast, and I'm so excited. And I want to pretty much start with something that was intriguing, and we didn't delve into much in our last conversation. What made you just pretty much give up on God and religion, and now you believe pretty much like in the universe? How did that happen?
Yeah, so, I grew up in the Catholic Church. It was kind of one of those things where I had to go through all of the pilgrimage things that we had to do, and I didn't really have a choice in it, so I was kind of forced into it. It was more of a cultural thing than it was like a devotion to God kind of thing. And as I was doing that, I didn't really feel the connection to any type of religion. I kind of just felt like it was what I had to do. And then as I got older, I started noticing how the Catholic Church was continuously asking for money and continuously
Mm.
asking for certain things that felt like I had to do to get like my ticket to heaven. And it kind of started feeling very phony to me. Also growing up with a dad who did not believe and didn't even want me to be in that. It definitely didn't help. Um, so then I kind of started feeling what's the word? Where it's not atheism, but it's like you just don't believe in anything at all. I guess that is
Mm.
atheism, right? Sort of.
Ah, it's so hard to actually pinpoint exactly what it is
Yeah.
because atheism is like I don't believe in God.
Right.
Okay,
I didn't believe
but
in anything.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I was like, "This is just you die, it's blackness, nothing."
Hmm.
And then I started realizing that, like, there's just no way. There's just, like, no possible way that there's absolutely nothing. There's no reason for us to be on this earth, and there's nothing afterwards. So that's why I was like, maybe there is something, and I'm a
Hmm.
big believer in signs. I'm a big believer in, like, the universe is gonna show you things that it needs to show you. And I started calling it the universe because energy can not be created nor destroyed. So I kind of felt like that's how religion is speaking about God. God is not created nor destroyed, right? So I didn't want to go underneath a religion because I just didn't connect to any of them. So I thought, well,
Mm.
what's a better thing to go under than energy itself?
Got it.
Energy is there. There is no way of denying we are all energy. Um, so that's why I started talking more about the universe and about energy in that way. It was a little bit more comfortable for me. I kind of lean on the science side, you know?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I stayed very in that science wing.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
It's interesting because one of the things that pushed me away from religion up to the point that I did become atheist, I think I can say that I was literally atheist because my thing was against God itself.
Right.
Like I was upset that if there was a God, why he was so powerless and allowed me to go through what I went through. So basically, I think I was literally atheist. But it's interesting because we use the words, we use the vocabulary, but each person using a different sense. Okay. That was for me, I was literally against the idea of a God. And
Right.
one of the things that pushed me away is something that you just mentioned, like the money, you
Mhm.
know. But this I cannot blame only, let's say, only the Catholic Church, because I believe I grew up in a country that most religions, okay, I would say
Mhm.
99% of them, okay, let me not be so mean, maybe 90% of them
Yes.
were after money. It was like ridiculous. They actually caught clips of this pastor teaching other pastors. By the way, these were people that called themselves pastors. They
Yeah.
went to a weekend retreat, came
Oh.
back as a pastor,
Uh-huh.
and part of the instructions was this other church leader teaching them how to be charismatic to get money. So
Oh, wow.
they had ads on newspapers selling churches. with a return of tide of so much and blah blah blah. And for me, that was like, I so it wasn't just, I was raised Catholic as well, but it
Mhm.
wasn't that I was just against Catholic. I was against religion and God
Yeah.
and all of that, period, because all I saw growing up was church leaders taking advantage of
Mhm.
people. So that was one of the biggest thing that
Yeah.
pushed me away. Now, what is interesting, I don't know if I think I did mention to you already. I started a church online,
Yes,
and
yes.
and okay, big story. Now I am a pastor. But anyways, what is the funniest thing is that one of the first accusations, because I did a little video where people are asking me why started online church,
Right.
and the first few comments were money, duh. Oh, she's
Yeah.
pretending to be a pastor so she can collect money, and I'm
Right.
like,
For a
oh
free
gosh.
online church, you're definitely trying to get money.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. But anyways, going back to your thoughts and the universe and everything,
Yeah.
and I like to kind of like put myself in your shoes, because I 100% understand where you coming from, because
Mhm.
I also didn't go from going to church, then 100% hating on God and not caring for God anymore.
Right.
It was a transition between, maybe there is something out there,
Mhm.
and in this idea of going in something out there, we are upset with certain things that we learn from church and from religion.
Mhm.
But, and then we say, because I said the same thing, this is not pointing at you. I said the same thing. I believe in history, I believe in science.
Right.
However, the energy and the science and the
Mhm.
universe also has not much of a proof.
I know. Yep.
So, where are you with that?
So, it's hard to think in black and white, right?
Mhm.
I think even if you are focusing on the science end, um, I can say that there is a fact that there's energy. I think that that is something that we can prove, right? There we could
There
talk
is
about
energy,
atoms. Yeah, we could
yes.
talk about
Mhm.
protons and neutrons and electrons. But there are a lot of things like, for example, I was telling you that story about talking to a friend with the universe expanding.
Mhm.
That there's no proof that the universe is expanding. There's no hard evidence. There is some things that kind of prove that, our universe or our galaxies are moving apart. Um, but just like religion, there's no definite proof. There's no way for us to reach the end of the universe to say, well, here's the end. And looking at the parameters, it's definitely, grown. So things like that, I think do kind of correlate with religion, where you do have to, in a way, believe. You do have to say, well, what's the evidence telling me? And I think
Mhm.
with you growing up, the evidence was God with God was that he wasn't there for you. He wasn't helping you. You felt lost, and you, not to speak for you, but
Mhm.
to feel like this almighty God wasn't doing anything for you. You had the proof to say, I don't believe in that. I'm angry at him. I don't believe in him. Same thing with science, where like, if I'm sitting on this rock floating through the universe, I don't feel galaxies moving apart from each other. I don't feel the distance happening. So I could say, well, nah, I don't believe in any of that. There's nothing that's proved that to me. But looking at other people's stories, like in religion or in science, all these, astronomers are saying, no, there is evidence that things are moving apart, just like there are people in the Christian community, Catholic community, Muslim community, et cetera, saying, no, God is there. God helped me. So it is really just what you feel like you want to believe in and what speaks to you and what makes sense to you. So I don't think that there's definites. I don't think there's definites in life in general. I don't think
Yeah.
there's black and white to really anything. I think there's always a gray area. So being aware of that gray area and choosing what you want to believe in and putting your energy towards that, I think is the most important. And some people say, praying to God is similar to manifestation. If you believe in manifesting and you're going to sit there and say, just for, the lack of better terms, like, I'm going to make money this year. I'm manifesting, I'm making money, I'm going to be the richest person this year, blah, blah, blah. It's the same idea as if I at night said, God, please, I just really need some financial help this year. It's the same idea. So energy, I think, is what connects all of it. It's what connects science and religion. Because I could sit here and say, I don't believe in God, but I manifest. where you can say, "No, I do believe in God, but I pray." Same idea. You know what I mean?
What if,
Mhm.
uh, let's say, part of everything that you said is true? Let's say God is behind everything.
Mhm.
And he created everything. He created the energy, he created the faith, because everything that you're saying, it's pretty much saying that it takes faith, either to believe in God, either to believe in the energy, either to believe in the universe. It takes faith.
Right.
And one vocabulary that I took out of my one word that I took out of my vocabulary is proof,
Mhm.
because we have proof for nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, I have a conviction that today that God does exist, but can I prove it to you? I
Right.
can't. Okay, so that I'm like, okay, you know what? Forget. I'm not going to be arguing with people, proving that universe is expanding or not, proving that God exists or not, because to be honest with you, there is very few things that we can actually prove. Okay,
Right.
this is an idea that we created to try to prove things, when even my atheistic phase, I
Mhm.
was like, I believe in science because at least there's proof.
Yeah.
Then I went to look into the evolution. And first of all, when you start reading, um, forgot his name, the evolution
Um,
guy.
Charles Darwin.
Yes. If you read his own biography, where science and evolution is, he didn't even believe what we are taught today.
Right.
Okay, there were so much, and not only that, every time that science tried to prove his theory, they were not able to prove.
Right.
So yes, prove is something that I took out of my mind.
Mhm.
um my experience with God was something that I really went as far as you can imagine against God. And I had all of the theories in my life, and I had all of the explanation. And then I had my own personal encounter with God, where God brought me back in a way that I was like, no one can take this away from me, because it was my experience with God.
Right.
But then I understand what you're saying, because it's like nothing else made sense. And now this is making sense to you. This is something that's how you're feeling. My question is, what if God is behind
Mm.
some of the ideas and then we're taking too far? Let's talk about manifestation. I think people are taking something that is actually biblical,
Mhm.
in the sense of, let's pray about this, let's be positive, because when
Mhm.
we believe in negative things, that brings your mood down, that affects you if you're
Right.
surrounded by people that are constantly complaining. But then we humans take things too far.
Yeah.
I'm gonna manifest that I'm gonna be rich. I'm manifesting that I'm gonna be skinny
Yeah.
for the last 50
Uh-huh.
years. And it's just
Same.
not happening. So if our brain had that much power, do you understand what I
Oh my
mean?
gosh. Imagine God wouldn't matter because we would be able to do everything for ourselves. The
Exactly.
universe wouldn't matter. The energy wouldn't matter if we were able to do all of that, you know?
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
I think manifestation is more about getting your mind into the right mindset to then change things in your life. I'm manifesting, I'm gonna lose weight. Good for you. What are you gonna do about it? You can't just sit there and say, I'm manifesting, it's gonna work. No, but I could say, you know what, I'm manifesting, I'm gonna lose weight. And every day I wake up and I'm like, you know what, I'm beautiful. So then when I step in the gym later that day, I don't feel like, God, I hate my body and I just really need to work out so I look better. I could say, no, I'm a beautiful person and I feel good about myself. The manifestation helped me with that. Now I feel like a more positive energy going into the gym. I could actually get my results. Same idea if every night I prayed to any god out there saying, "Please, I just need to feel confident about myself." The more you say it, the more you hear it, it becomes true, and I think that's where energy comes in. The more energy you put towards something, the more you're gonna get out.
Yes, yes. And I think we are in the same
Yes.
page here, in a sense
Yeah,
of we can dangerously take too far. You
Absolutely.
know, like I want to lose weight, I'm going to sit here and do nothing, still eat the same way I always ate, not doing
Mhm.
an exercise because I'm just going to manifest.
Right.
But the people that truly like 100% believe in manifestation, pretty much that's what they believe.
Yeah.
And that's where I have a problem.
Mhm.
Actually, I follow this guy on, I think it's on TikTok or Instagram, I'm not sure. But he makes the most, I think, as an entertainer,
Mhm.
he is amazing. I absolutely love his songs because the beat is so good and
Yeah.
the way that he dances is absolutely insane. It's ridiculous,
I
but
love
it's so
it.
entertaining. I love what he does.
Aw.
But at the same time, I'm laughing because I think he takes too far in the sense of
Mm.
he believes that is tuning with the universe is the right beat of the songs that is actually bringing all of the energy
Oh,
to him,
goodness.
and all of
Yeah.
the bring all of the money that he's making, bring all of the things
Mm.
that he's making. But then let's take somebody that doesn't have his looks, doesn't have his rhythm, like the
Right.
way that he dances,
Do we think it would still work?
doesn't have his abs, and it's not
Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
entertaining. Would they be making the same amount of money?
Okay, so it's funny you bring something up like that. There is an amazing woman that works with me, and she is very much into manifesting. She's written books about it. It's like her thing. And she works at a certain station in the salon that faces the front door because she believes you face the front door, you're attracting money into your business. I I would love to say that facing a certain direction in your business is going to bring in a significant amount of money. And it's very possible that that has proven itself to her and she feels that way. And as somebody who isn't religious and does believe in more energy wise, I should fully believe in that. But I have a very hard time being like, yes, if I face 10 degrees north, then I'm going to then make all of this money because my station does not face the door. So am I in a
You're
position?
doomed.
I'm doomed. I will never hit any of the financial goals apparently. And maybe, you know what? Maybe that's why my wallet is not full.
Maybe
It's
that's what
making
it is.
sense now. Yeah.
Fight with
No,
her, get that spot.
get that station. But
It's
it's
so
interesting. It's very
yes.
interesting. And it's like, I think there are people that take it too far. It's same idea. And this is the qualms I have with a lot of religious people. They think, well, God's going to handle it. God's going to do it. It's like, okay. I hope. I really do. I genuinely hope. But I don't think anything is going to happen in this world, in this life, unless you are doing it. Unless you are saying, I'm going to do it. And if you feel like your religion gives you the strength to do that, beautiful. I think that's what it's all about. But if you're going to solely rely on something and not say anything and say, you know what, God is going to get me this house I want. I don't know. I don't,
That's the second point, but before we go there, I want to mention to you a little bit of so don't let me forget this thing that you
Okay.
just said about not doing anything and just praying and be done. But
Mhm.
let me tell you how I grew up. Both of my parents, they're both Catholics.
Mhm.
Uh, a little bit mixed with spiritualism, but they wouldn't say that because like
Mm.
Catholic and spiritualism are two things that don't combine,
Yeah.
but they do and they don't realize. Okay. Anyways, so both of them Catholic,
Mhm.
and then every New Year at midnight, my mom would put three corn. How do you say the cob? Corn cob.
Um, oh, a corn like a husk? Like the
The whole corn with the
oh, like the
husk and
cob.
everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
uh-huh.
yes. And she would tie it into something and hang behind the front door. Okay, because that's to bring prosperity.
Right.
They would buy elephants and put the elephants turning their butts towards the front door because also that's
Mhm.
what brings good luck.
Mhm.
For New Year's, and by the way, this is the entire Brazil.
Yeah.
You always start New Year's with white clothing.
Oh, okay.
Yes, actually, if you go online and you look at videos of people in Rio at the beaches, they are offering thanks to Iemanjá. Iemanjá is the god of the ocean in
Mm,
Brazil,
okay.
and they are all dressed in white.
Interesting.
So that's how I grew up.
I
Okay,
love
so
that.
all of the
I have to say I love tradition in that way. I
Mhm.
love little weird things that, like,
I
cultures
love
do. It's my
getting
favorite.
I love getting to know all of the different I love getting to
Yes.
know cultures and tradition, even if I don't believe on them. I find it interesting because that's what actually brings hope to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as much as today, and I wanted to make it clear here, so my Christian listeners don't start hating on me a little more than they already do.
Oh my gosh.
Let me make a little disclosure here. Karlee and I are good friends.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
are the perfect example of two people that believe things completely opposite
Yep.
today, have completely different lifestyles, but still can get along and have a conversation.
Yes. Yes, and I think that is the most important thing about humanity, is being able to have friends with people that are not like you,
Yes,
you know?
yes, yes. And that is so much that I appreciate your friendship. Because first of all, as a Christian today, as a believer in God, and
Mhm.
it's partial we have to understand exactly how I believe in God, but that's another point. I mean, I believe fully in God, but I in my view, I believe the energy and everything else comes
Yeah.
from God.
Yeah.
Okay? But because I come from the background that I came from, I understand 100% what you're talking about and why you're thinking that way, because
Yeah.
that's how I was raised.
Mhm.
And it's not because I'm talking to somebody that believes different than me that I'm going to hell.
Yes, and that's the thing, hell is a whole other topic that I know we talked about in the last podcast of how
We didn't even get into details,
I know,
but
but how, like,
yeah.
Catholicism really uses fear
Fear.
to
Hmm.
make you feel a type of way, and I know I told a story about my dad having that little
I love
conversation with the
I love your
priest.
stories with your dad.
You know, it's funny, I was on the phone with him before this, and,
Mhm.
he was the one that was helping me with my AirPods and the
Oh, got it.
technical stuff,
Uh-huh.
but he was like, "You have to tell the story about me getting beat up by a nun." And I said, "Oh, I don't know, Dad."
Please,
So
please share the story.
so this is a big reason why he was so not into religion when I was growing up, and kind of made me feel like I was telling in the last podcast, he would be like, "Hey, challenge this. Hey, challenge that."
Mhm.
Because he had not only his own thoughts and beliefs from his father and all of that to make him kind of gear out of that whole religion, just I would say, like, the religious culture of New York, because it is so strong. If you were
Really?
in Oh my gosh, if you were in New York, you are Catholic. You're either Catholic or Jewish, and that is it.
I thought New York would be so secular.
You know, certain parts are for sure.
Mhm.
Staten Island is
Mm.
so not. Staten Island, I think it could be equivalent to, like, a small town in North Carolina. Like, it is
It's
whew,
the Italian descendant
oh my
and
god.
influence, right? Yeah.
It's
Mhm,
mainly Italian and Irish, and then the
mhm.
whole rest
Oh,
is
Irish too.
yeah,
Mm,
which is super, super Catholic, and then the whole
exactly.
other side is all Jewish, and not
Mhm.
just, like, normal Judaism, like Hasidic Judaism, like, it's insane. So you have very, very polar opposite situations, and from one end of the spectrum to the other. So, because of that, my dad was very much in the Catholic situation, as I was, and he went to St. John's Villa. St. John's Villa is no longer even a school
Mm.
at this point. Um, there was a teacher, her name is Mrs. Placid, okay? I don't know why her name just makes the story even better.
We're giving names.
We're giving names. She said, "You need to make sure you give her name." Okay. I'm
Okay.
giving the name, dad, I did it. Okay, so her name's Mrs. Placid, or Sister Placid, I guess, right? So, he was in class, and he was had to be about 11 years old, 10, 11 years old, and everybody was talking, and she said to my dad, "I need you to stop talking." And he, just like I would, "I'm not the only one talking." Well, she writes his name down on a piece of paper. He said, "What did you do?" And she said, "I wrote your name down." Well, why? Everybody else is talking. Why are you writing my name
How
down?
old is he now?
Like
At
10,
this
11,
Okay.
somewhere around there. So he's like, "Well, why are you only writing my name down? Everybody else is talking." And she said, "Well, you were talking the loudest." So he goes to take the piece of paper from her to say, "No, you're not doing this to me. Like, you're not getting me in trouble." And there is a lot of fear behind that because he was, I hate to use this word, but he was like abused by nuns in all of his schooling. So he was like, "No, please don't get me in trouble," and takes the paper. Well, they're like going back and forth, like literally like this, grabbing the paper. She was on crutches. Okay.
Oh,
She was on crutches because I think she hurt her knee or something. She stands up, puts the crutches down, goes up to my father, and starts closed fist punching him, beating him up in front of everyone. Like full on beat the crap out of my dad. And this is an 11-year-old kid, you know? So, yeah, later in life, it was my rehearsal. It was like a school play or something like that. It was like a cute little recital. And my portion of the recital is done, so, of course, my dad is now not interested in the recital. Once your kid is done, you're like, "Ah." So he's, like, kinda looking around the audience and just kinda being aware, and who's over there? Sister Placid. And she's in a wheelchair now. I guess her knee never healed, who knows? And she was just enjoying the recital, enjoying all of it. And he was like, "Do I go up to her and say how you've ruined my childhood? Do I bring this up? Do I say you are the reason why I don't believe in God? I don't believe, and all this stuff." And now his beliefs have changed drastically since I'm a child. He is now even more spiritual than I am in a lot of ways. He's still not I would say like a secular religious person, but he's like very, very spiritual. Where at that time he wasn't at all when I was a kid. He was very atheist, very like, um, is no, I think the word in pink is not correct. Anyway, I'll think of the word for nothingness eventually. It'll come to my brain. So he believed in absolute nothingness, and he was like, "I think I have to tell this nun that she ruined my life." And he watched her, and then decided, "I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just not." And since then, he's, like, moved on in his life, but he thinks about her a lot, and he, like, really feels like that ruined so much of his childhood. And that was just only one situation. Like, there was another time, where he was meant to kneel on marble floors for 3 hours because he misbehaved in class. That's like a torture tactic for soldiers, like, what? And, of course, my grandmother, we called her Joe Pesci. She was Spitfire. She would come in and find these these situations and then would very much threaten all of the nuns because she was a bit of a spitfire. But all of this to say, that was like it was a big turning point in my dad's life when it comes to religion. So he was very much like, because of the fear, absolutely not. And didn't want me to go through that, and didn't want me to feel fear from anybody. This is also back in the probably 70s, so people were able to get a away with a lot more than they are now.
yeah,
But yeah,
that will push you away from God.
absolutely.
And today, understanding God the way that I now do, it
Mhm.
gets me so upset that because of people's behavior, they lose faith in God.
Yeah,
Because that person, the nun or a priest, they are representing God.
yeah.
Even though, even though when you get older, you're more mature, you understand that humans are humans and they're gonna make mistake, and that is not a representation of who God
Mhm.
is. It doesn't matter to a
Yeah.
child. Your parents are a representation of God,
Mhm.
and the church leaders are a representation of God,
Right.
and that will completely break people. And that's exactly what happened to me. It was actually church leaders, and also, unfortunately, my parents, especially my father's behavior, that I could not understand love. I could
Mhm.
not understand affection. The idea of a God of love came from the way that my father treated me.
Right.
There was not a lot of love in there.
Yeah, yeah.
While you were
Mhm.
talking, I got curious, so I asked ChatGPT here, what is the term? What is the term for someone that doesn't believe in anything? It came like agnostic, but
Agnostic, okay.
yeah, agnostic is like not sure if God exists or believes can't be known. Then we have secular that is completely out, and non-religious. I don't know if there's like a specific
I
term,
thought it was like something that kind of sounds like absolutism. Like I feel like there's a word, but it doesn't
It's
matter.
probably there is more terms,
Yeah.
and they are coming up more and more all the
There's
time.
always a new name for everything. There always is. God,
Yes,
you should
yes.
see what I deal with my clients calling all these colors that have been around for centuries, all the different new names, and I'm like, "So you mean brown? Got it." So,
Let's not even go there.
and then we're also supposed to be able to decide what is best for us when it comes to our spiritual guiding, and we
Yeah,
can't even choose a paint color.
yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Ah, isn't that crazy?
Yes, yes, yes. What I love about talking to you is because we can explore so many different things,
Yeah.
and not get upset or offended with each other.
Yes, yes.
Because, and I think that's the reason why I want to talk to young people that are not believers in the same thing that I am today.
Mhm.
Uh, being honest, in my heart, what I want to do is help people.
Yeah.
It's especially young people that went through the transitions. And I'm going to be honest with you, in everything else that I looked for it, as much as for a time, and in my time while I was a teenager, I don't think we used the words universe or manifestation. I don't think
Right.
that was the thing.
Mhm.
Okay. I went through a hippie phase.
I love a good hippie phase.
I, yes.
Listen, so have I. So have I.
And I remember believing in things that today I think we would call the universe,
Mhm.
uh, and the good vibes and all of that kind of thing. But I'm going to be honest with you, even though I found temporary peace,
Mhm.
I still felt empty.
Yeah.
It wasn't constant.
Mm.
It was like, I okay, here is the answer. There's a city, and you like culture and different
Tell
things you're
me.
gonna
Yep.
enjoy. In the center of Brazil, there is a state called Goiás,
Okay.
Goiás. The name of the city, I'm not even gonna try because it's a really long and weird name, okay?
Okay, got it.
But it's
Noted.
Pirinópolis, okay?
Okay.
It's a very small town. It has a little river that runs right through it. The city itself, it's beautiful. It's like it's small, and at least back when I was a teenager, it was not developed at all.
Mm.
And people, all of this, let's say hippie, even though that was not the hippie time anymore, but a
Mhm.
lot of the people that believed in the way, they moved over there,
Oh.
and they live off the ground, and they had their communities. Some communities I heard, I did not see it. People were just naked
Oh, love that.
because, because that's how God brought us, or nature brought us. So they were all
Sure.
naked. They would smoke weed and
Uh-huh.
drink mushroom tea
Mhm.
day and night.
Yep.
Okay. And they dress as hippies, and they still make a lot of that. You go to the beaches in Brazil, you will see the little things that they make out of their own hands, and they make like how do you
Oh,
call it,
like bracelets? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bracelets and things like that.
Mhm.
So through my phase, I met this guy who was really into this, and he brought me to that city, and
Mm.
I changed my name, and I gave more hippie name.
How have we not talked about this?
I know.
How is this the first time I'm hearing about this?
I know. I know.
Chris,
I know.
this is my favorite version of you so far. Hold on. Okay, wait, hold on. Oh my god. Okay, so
I
you went
can't
to the
get
city.
into I can't get into too many details of this because it's not PG, okay?
This is my our next appointment, we're gonna
Our
circle
next
back.
appointment, we circle
We
back.
circle back for sure. Oh my
So
goodness.
all of this, the stone and the energy and the pyramids and the all of that,
Mm,
I was into all of that. I was
yeah.
about, I would say this was from 15 all the way through early 20s, you know.
Mm,
So, anyways, my point is, although I gave up on religion
mm,
and I gave a chance to the universe to open my mind and all of that, I was still empty.
mhm,
And this is why it's not pushing back, it's not insist, it's not trying to convince people, you or anybody else. But now I found something that after 20 years now that I'm a Christian, because
mm,
everything else that I found was phases, it was temporary. It gave me like a spiritual high fulfillment for a
mm,
while, and then somehow it dropped.
right,
And now, and for me, that's the biggest proof that there is a God. It's because this is no longer temporary. This is no longer, even, I'm going to open up here. I'm going through some health issues right now. And other times I would be completely devastated in bed. And now I have the strength to continue.
right,
And I know you're gonna say something like, well, it's the same thing as somebody that believes in something else. But when I went through those, it
yeah,
didn't give me the strength that I'm having now. You
right,
know, so that's why sometimes I insist, hey, what if behind the energy, behind the universe, behind the manifestations, that we may use different names for it, one says manifestation, other one says prayer,
right,
but
mhm,
what if there is a God that is behind all of
yeah,
this?
absolutely,
And what if, because of people, we are not giving a chance to actually get to know the real God, the
right.
real creator?
Well, I feel like that's something that I go back and forth with all the time. And I remember our last appointment, I briefly told you about the whole rosary thing and how like
Sure. Hmm.
comfortable that makes
Hmm.
me. And because I grew up with it, my grandmother, I call her Mama Nana. She's an angel.
I love it.
She's the best.
She's
And
the one you sing with.
yeah, so she taught
Oh,
me
it
how to
was so
sing. She was a
beautiful.
jazz singer. Yeah, she's just a beautiful spirit. And, every single night, I, would stay at her place most of the time. My mom was a single mom. My parents were divorced since I was like 2. So I stayed at her place so much. And, she'd be like, "All right, gotta say our prayers." And I would lay in bed next to her and I would like listen to like, "Oh my God. I gotta go through the prayers. Yes, our Father who art in heaven." She would go through it all. Then after we would do the Our Father, Hail Mary, act of contrition. Then we would do our personal prayers. Please watch over Carly and her mom, and please give her mom the strength. And I remember it so clearly. Please give her mom the strength to provide for her family and to become the best mother she could be. Please watch over. And she had 6 kids. Okay. Please watch over Donna, Debbie, Diane, Doreen, Dean, and Denise. Denise is my mother. She would go through every single one. Then we would have to go through all of their kids. Oh, by the time you were done, it was like 1 in the morning. And I'm like, God, Mama Nana, I gotta go to bed. So sometimes I'll fall asleep while she would be doing the prayers, and then she would like hit me and be like, wake up. Finish your prayers. You have to say amen, and then you go to sleep. So, as annoying as that was growing up and how much I couldn't stand it,
Mm.
I notice now in my adult life, if I'm anxious, if I'm feeling really nervous, I'm afraid of flying, as we've discussed. I travel all the time. So the fear of flying is not great. And there are times that turbulence really rattles me and I don't know how to act. And I start praying the rosary and I don't realize I'm even doing it. Like I get to a point where I'm like, I notice there's a dialogue in my brain. And if I really cue into it, I'm like, oh God, I'm saying Hail Mary over and over again. I'm saying the act of contrition over and over again. Why am I doing this? And I met one of my other clients. She is about my age. I think she's a little older. I think she's 30-ish. And she is full on Catholic, like grew up Catholic. She kind of lost it a little bit, tried to go to Christianity when she moved here, didn't feel the same connection, went back to Catholicism. And now she goes to church every Sunday. She's like a part of youth groups and stuff like that. And she was telling me about it. And I was like, God, I love the comfortability that we have in that religion because we grew up in it. In New York, I didn't know a single person that was Christian. I didn't even really know what Christianity was. So moving here I was 20, God, I was 21 when I moved here. I was not religious, also knew nothing about Christianity, and it's all Christianity here. I feel like it's every every denomination you could think of is in North Carolina. So I was like, God, I don't really feel the connection to that. Honestly, I looked down in a way with people that were super Christian because it was that weird stereotypical Christian thing of like all the Christians hated me because I was loud and I curse and I'm a little crass, some people may say. And I was just like, well, they just don't like me. Those people just aren't my friends. They don't like me. And I'm cool with that. Because in my head, I'm like, they're like crazy Christians that like believe in all these crazy things and they are so mean to
I
the
have a story
people.
about that.
Yes, because I've heard so many stories about people being like and my clients saying, "I was 16 and I was pregnant and my church disowned me." Or I was, I was trying to figure out what to do in my life. I was a drug addict and my pastor disowned me from the church. Like, and it made me have such a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, ugh. But then talking to my client that's Catholic, I was like, God, there's a great little like traditional thing going on there, a cultural thing that I love. And being Italian, oh my gosh, being Catholic is everything. And it's not just a religion, like we've talked about, it's everything. It's even like those little the things that you were saying that Brazilians do with the elephant and with the corn.
Mhm,
We have
mhm.
similar things that we used to wear, or I used to wear, a horn around my neck. And I kind
Mm.
of want one again because I just love it. But you would wear a horn, most of the time it was red, kind of our version of the evil eye. So
Mhm.
it protects you from the Malocchio. Malocchio is just bad energy.
Right.
Um, so that even turned into Catholicism in a weird way. Where like if you ask any normal Catholic person, they don't know what the Malocchio is or what a horn is or anything like that. It looks like peppers almost. Right? Everybody calls it the Italian pepper. Nobody knows what that is unless you're an Italian that's Catholic and from New York?
Mhm.
So looking at Catholicism as a more traditional thing is where the comfort comes in. And that's where I've been way more connected to it recently as an adult, and it's almost freaking me out. I'm like, what's going on here?
It's like, am I gonna become what I said I wasn't gonna be?
Yeah. I'm like, wait, why am I panicking while I'm driving and all of a sudden saying the Our Father? Like, what's
Yes,
going
yes,
on?
yes.
Um, but I do like what you said earlier. Just one last thing,
Mhm.
where you said that it's pretty much like people giving God different names. I do kind of feel like that is what it is. I feel like some people may call it the universe, some people may call it Yalla, some people may call it God or Jesus or any other name, Buddha, whatever religion you believe in. Um, is it all the same? Is it all the same God just showing himself differently through different cultures? Or is the universe as energy God? Like you said, does he back all of that? And he is all of that? That would make sense.
I actually believe there is an actual God that could
Mm,
have created all of the energy, and I believe
mm,
that. But it's kind of like this: God brings you to Him in however way He needs to use, because He loves you and He wants the best for you.
right.
But He doesn't leave you there. He helps you understand more. There's so many stories I want to tell you.
I know.
Okay,
We could do
so
this forever.
I know. I'm gonna take a note because I need to tell you about this movie that
Mm.
it was amazing. How God brought me through the most stupid thing, not stupid. Okay, I shouldn't say that, but like the little simplistic things that nobody would think about it, and most people would say, "Oh, this is wrong."
Yeah.
But there is something else that you said. Okay, I'm gonna go with this. So just to finish your thought, no, I do not believe that God is the universe. I believe that God
Mm.
created the universe. I believe
Mhm.
that God created the energy. I created that God created in us this it's not a need that I want to say, but this longing for him, so
Mm.
we all humans, we're looking for him. Unfortunately, what happens is we have distanced ourselves so much from God that things became twisted and people take too far. That's
Yeah.
what we were talking about at the beginning.
Right.
So now we are so far from God that it's hard for us to identify this is God, this is the universe, this is this. Now, do you think God would not accept somebody just because they don't understand completely? Absolutely not.
Right. Of
You
course.
know, um, So I do believe in a way, today I do believe in the way that the Bible describes why there is a long journey to get to why I believe like that.
Mhm.
But I still do believe that God will do everything to save every single person, and he will help you. Those people there, let's say my mother-in-law,
Mm.
she was born and raised Catholic. She and the way that her faith was so pure, and all the way to the end of her life, what she understood about God, she was faithful.
Yeah.
To some Protestants, and by the way, I was going to mention to you, you say the Christianity.
Mm.
I believe Catholics are also Christians. They believe in
Yeah.
Christ, so they are also Christians. The
Mhm.
way that I make I don't like when people say only Protestants are the true religion, Catholics are not really Christians. I don't
Mm.
like that. I believe that there is Christian Catholics that will be saved as much as the Protestants and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Um, so in the Protestant side, they believe that because Catholic Church was so corrupted, they have deviated. And by the way, this is not criticizing Catholics. This is
Of
like
course.
looking down history. And
Yeah.
I still do believe many, 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 many Catholics will be saved because Jesus loves them. They are Christian. They believe in Christ.
Mm.
But if we would go just by some of the Protestants that believe, oh, you're Catholic, you're not going to be saved, the faith that my mother-in-law had, the way that she was faithful to what she understood,
Oh,
I
yeah.
do believe she will be saved.
Yeah, just like how
Okay.
my grandmother, so devout, Catholic. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
And I think the
Now,
only reason why she's not praying now is because she has dementia, but,
oh,
like,
poor thing.
she
Yes,
would've she would've been
exactly.
praying till the day she died, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I am in my phase of I was in the US already. I I was full on atheist at this point because
Mhm.
all of my other journeys had led me nowhere. So not only I still listen in all of the mysticisms and spiritualism and all of that. I still believed in that, but God hated God. Okay, I still
Mhm.
believed in universe and like my hippie phase and all of that. So at this point, somebody she started influencing me very, very positive towards God. Okay.
Mhm.
Because of her behavior, because of how she treated me. I saw love in her and family in a way that I never seen anywhere else in my life, honestly.
Right.
So one day I watched this movie called Contact. I don't
Okay.
know if you remember, it's with Jodie Foster. Do you know what movie this is?
I don't think so.
Now, yeah, you were probably 7 years old when that thing came
Uh,
out. Okay. So the movie is she's a astronaut. So she is a scientist and she
Yeah.
believes in science. Her father had passed away when she was a kid.
Mm.
So she goes into this capsule to go into the orbit, whatever she was going. I don't even remember where she was going. And the movie shows her whole journey. By the way, she believes in aliens. She believes in people outside.
Mhm.
And the part that really moved me was that she is in this capsule. And it shows her journey going to outer space, getting to this place where she actually meets her father.
Oh.
She talks to her father, has a whole conversation with her father, and then she comes back down to earth.
Oh,
The thing
wow.
is, she never left.
Hmm.
So the people outside
Oh,
saw
boy.
that she never left.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, that movie being completely uh, science-based, spiritualistic based, and everything else, honestly, what that movie shows, it's not what I believe in scriptures today.
Right.
But it was a movie, a fiction, that talked about things that is not even biblical that God used to give me a chance. Well, maybe there is more to it that I understand.
Mhm.
What if I open to the possibility of there may be more than what I understand
Right,
today?
right.
And God used a movie, Hollywood fiction.
To
God will
get through to
use
you.
to get
Yeah.
through to me. So
Mhm.
what tells me that God will use anything.
Yeah,
to save
absolutely.
us. I believe 100%.
Mhm.
And within time, he took me to the scriptures once I was like, I hate religion, and but I'm giving a chance for God.
Mm.
What was great is that I wasn't convinced about God from a religious perspective. I was like, if there is a God,
Mhm.
and now I'm gonna sound very preachy, but that's part of my journey. If there's a God, I'm sorry, but there's gotta be one religion. Because otherwise is
Mm.
God crazy? Does he have multiple personalities? He
Oh,
will tell
no.
this person this and became the Catholic Church. He tells
Right.
this person this and became Buddhist. He tells this person that. I'm like, I'm sorry, but do you understand the logic that I'm making? Now, now,
Yeah.
now I'm going back to my atheistic, scientific brain.
Mhm.
It doesn't make sense to me to have one God that has multiple personalities and create all of these different religions.
Yeah. Okay, I kinda have a theory.
Tell me.
Um, I always think, what if, and this is so random, but I will circle back and it will make sense in a minute. Um, I kinda think all of our eyes see things differently. So what if you see blue, but I see green, but we both call it green? And when you see yellow, I see red, but we both call it pink. You know what I'm saying? So all the colors in your world could be completely different from all the colors in my world. But every time I see red, it's called green, so I call it green. So, yeah, they can't be so different because obviously we have conversations about warm colors and cool colors. But let's just say they're off a little bit. Like, I don't think anybody can see through my eyes the same exact way they see through theirs. So there is a part of me that feels like all religions are similar in that way, where somebody who's Buddhist can feel so connected to God. Somebody who's Jewish can feel so connected to God. Same as somebody who's Christian or Catholic and all the religions in between. Um, but they're just shown God in a different way. So, yeah, somebody might call it Yahweh, somebody may call it Jesus, but at the end of the day, it's the same person. It's the same entity. It's just they're looking at it, they were given an experience in a different way. So, like if I grew up in the Middle East, I'm going to be thinking about God very differently than if I grew up in Italy or if I grew up in, I don't know, Tokyo. So, I do think that there is that part of it where it's like, there's no way that this God is so different in every religion. There's no way that it's the same thing and like he could be represented as a woman in Greek, in the Greek
Mythology, yeah.
mythology. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But then also can be shown as just Jesus's father in the Catholic Church. But then I think, what if Aphrodite and Jesus and Yahweh and God is really just the way that he can get through to each person? Because let's say I'm somebody who I really don't feel like there's a one entity. I'm somebody who is like a poly, what is it called? A poly,
Polytheist.
yes.
Hmm.
Where like I believe that there's multiple gods for everything. Like how you were saying in Brazil, there's like a god of the ocean.
Hmm.
I think that that's how it is for everything. There's a God of love and a God of light and a God of whatever. Um, at the end of the day, though, it's very possible that all of those gods that I'm separating and giving different names is just God. But I'm kind of like categorizing and subcategorizing things to make it a little bit easier for me to digest.
Okay. And I can absolutely see what you're saying, especially
Hmm.
because we were all wired completely differently. And
Yeah.
we can see this in humanity in the sense of me and you can be in the same seminar listening to the same thing and we both understand completely different
Right.
because my background and your background, the way you were wired, your traumas, your beliefs and everything else makes the same thing that was said be looked by us
Hmm.
from two completely different perspectives, and it
Right.
affects you in one way and me in the completely different way. But going back to what I was saying, this is where I had the problem. Let's pretend we're going to use the example that you give, okay?
Okay.
That I see green, and I call this green, and you see it's a little bluish, but you still call green because that's the name we gave.
Right.
Okay. So we are seeing things differently,
Mhm.
but we're seeing the same thing and we give different names. I'm
Right.
okay with that. And I do believe that for God to bring you to Him, it's okay for you to believe in many gods, for you to believe in different things, and for Him to bring him to
Mhm.
you to Him.
Right.
This is where I have the problem. That's where my question back then, I'm talking about 20 years ago, it took me. The
Mhm.
problem is not how He attracts you, but if at the end there is one God that will
Mhm.
attract you in many different ways, uh, when this one God tells you things that is completely contradicting.
Mhm.
Let me give you the example. Okay. This pen is
Uh-huh.
white.
Yes.
Okay. And we both agree that this is white.
Mhm.
This is blue. And we both agree that this is blue.
Mhm.
Okay. The problem is when what I am teaching, it's actually contradicting what
Mhm.
I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay. So you come to tell me and you say, well, the colors are not going to make sense. We have one God.
Mhm.
Okay. And this one God teaches you that you're going to hell.
Mm.
When you die, you're going to hell. Then I have another one that believes in this one same God that says that when you die, you're not going to hell or to heaven, you're just sleeping.
Mm.
Now
Mhm.
we're talking about the same, we believe in the same God. That's my problem.
I gotcha.
It's like, okay, God says, this one God says you should not worship any other gods or image of any other gods. And then
Right.
one religion says you're okay to worship statue. The other one said, no, but God said not to worship statue. Do you
Right.
understand
Right.
what I
Right.
mean?
Yes. Mhm.
That's why I was like, either God doesn't exist or he has multiple
Mm.
personalities.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or if he does exist, it's got to be one religion, and we human messed up the whole thing with a bunch of different beliefs. Do you see
Yeah.
where I'm going?
I do. And I do feel like if we really strip down each and every religion that's out there are way more similarities than there are differences.
I agree. I agree.
Right. So
Hmm.
I do think that a lot of where I feel like it is contradicting, where like for example, Catholicism, we do worship, statues. We worship saints. We have all these different things that we're like, oh well, I lost my keys. I got to pray to Saint Anthony. Yeah, I feel like if all of those contradictions, I really truly feel like it's people that are just taking scripture, no matter what the scripture is, and then creating a different narrative. And I know we've talked about this
Giving their
where
own, giving their
mhm,
own, um, not translation, what do you say, interpretation,
interpretation, yes.
without
Um,
going back to the Bible and say, is this biblical or is this
mhm.
just a tradition?
Right. Well, like let's take Judaism and Christianity for example. It's the same it's the same book pretty much. It's the Old
Is
Testament and the New
this
Testament.
is the same ramification?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to be a little controversial here.
No,
Eh,
please, please.
If we wanted to be honest, as Christians, the
Mhm.
only religion that was actually instituted by God was Jewish.
Yep. Mhm.
So, if we wanted to be honest, if the Jewish people had accepted Christ as their Messiah, we will all be Jewish today.
Mhm.
Now, we have to understand that the Judaism that God instituted back in the time of Abraham, Moses, and all of that, it's
Mhm.
not what the religion is today.
Right.
Okay, it's very different. But the people that were called was the Jewish people.
Right. So that's why it's like I do think a lot of it is interpretation. Even things like I know this is a very controversial topic, and I know that like this is like the biggest thing that people who are science based versus people who are not fight about a lot. And it's very high in like our political stature right now, which is abortion.
Mm.
Um, So I know as of now, like I believe that everybody should have a choice. That is my belief. That's how I feel. And I know a lot of people feel like you should not do any type of abortion, you're ending a life, et cetera, et cetera. But they're taking their argument for not getting an abortion out of the Bible. Same reason why people feel like if you are gay, that's not okay, right? Because in the Bible it says man shall not lay with man. But in that same Bible, it also says that we should not wear clothing that is made up of more than one type of material, or else we should be stoned to death. So it's like taking things so super literally from the Bible and saying, well, no, you cannot be gay because man cannot lay with man, and this is what it is, et cetera, et cetera. But then I'm gonna wear a polyester and cotton blend t-shirt. So I do think it's a lot of taking things and leaving things and using things when they want and not using things when they want. And that was where I was not liking Christianity from that point, where I'm like, well, why can you take this, but you can't take that? So you are against abortion, but then you're for the death penalty. Like, how does that make sense to
Yes,
anybody?
yes, and those were the things, and especially
Hmm.
for me. By the way, every single thing that you just mentioned there, it would be good to actually do a Bible study to understand what
Right.
each one of that meant.
Hmm.
But those were exactly the things that pushed me away from God. For me, it
Hmm.
was not so much like the mixed fabrics. Because that is actually, if you look at it, it's easy for us to understand why. Uh,
Mm.
it's actually the genocides, the killing of everybody in a certain city, even babies that were being breastfed.
Oh,
So
wow.
those were the things that I could not accept. A God of love that accepts and promotes. This is the
Hmm.
thing. I was wrong because I didn't understand the Bible. And my biggest pet peeve is that we today we don't study scriptures. And
Yeah.
when we do study scriptures, we take things literally without understanding context.
Mm.
Okay, we have to learn to read in context. I'm
Yes.
gonna give you an example of the women pastor just because this is one that I was forced to study more about it. Okay.
Yes.
First of all, the books of the Bible were written in different times.
Mm.
Okay, by different people with different context. We cannot take every part of the Bible the same way. It
Mhm.
was the Bible was written in a period of 1,500 years apart. Do you understand what that is?
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes we stop to think about it. Carly,
Right, we're thinking somebody sat down and wrote the whole Bible. Yeah.
yes, yes, and in one context. So stop to think about it. Do you actually understand the context in which, like, really deeply understand the context in which your mom lived, her culture, your grandmother? We don't.
No, you can't.
We don't quite
You will never
understand.
understand somebody else's experience.
Words change meaning so
Mhm.
quickly. 30, 40 years ago, I would come here and say, Carly, I am so gay today.
Yeah,
Do you understand?
mhm.
So words change meaning.
Absolutely.
Society changed, everything changed. And we wanted to put this book that just because now it's all piled up together in one place and we can read it through it and think that we in the 21st century can understand everything just by reading it.
Right.
No, you cannot.
No.
Because what we've been fed on, it's what society is doing now. For an example, they say women wanting to be pastors today because they are following the feminist movement and they are following culture. Okay,
Hmm.
let me push back a little.
Mhm.
Am I the one trying to follow culture by wanting to be a pastor? And is this the feminist movement? So they think that I am reading the Bible with my 21st century mind without
Mm.
thinking that, hold it, how were the writers of the Bible writing at the time?
Right.
Because at the time of Paul, which they use Paul all the time to say that Paul said that women should not teach or have authority over men and that they should be silent,
Mm.
which is true. He wrote that. But he also encouraged other women in other books of the Bible, preaching, prophesying, being leaders.
Mm.
The Bible has Deborah being a judge. This is in the Old Testament. A
Right.
judge has authority over all men.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Junia was an apostle. It's in the Bible. It's in the New Testament.
Yeah.
So what's happening here is this: God was respecting the ignorance of the time, that
Right.
women had no value, that women had no authority, that women had were not being taught,
Right.
they didn't have the right. Women could not speak in public places. If a woman wanted to ask a question, they needed to ask their husbands at home. So the
Yeah.
society at the time was horrible towards women. If there
Right.
is a group of people that has always been oppressed from the beginning of the ages, has been women.
Amen to that.
Yes.
That I can agree
So
with
God
wholeheartedly.
was not supporting, God
Mhm.
was not in favor, but people don't change overnight. Look
Right.
at the mess that we have our country right now.
Yeah.
Can anybody agree with anything overnight? It's
No.
not going to
God, no.
happen. It's not going to
Mm-mm.
happen. So God, knowing that, and not to obscure the mission that was greater than that, because if
Mhm.
we look at it, yes, women being oppressed, we had slavery, we had so many things that needed to change. But if Jesus comes with his kingdom and solves all of those problems will be solved as
Right.
well. So not
Mhm.
to obscure the message of the gospel, Paul says, especially in that moment, what was happening there was that uneducated women was spreading gossip and wrong teachings
Right.
in that church in that specific time. That's where he said that women shouldn't talk and all of that. So
Yeah.
for that specific moment, and if you study everything that was happening in the Ephesus, and because of the other thing, it was very common to have the priestesses that were prostitutes. Okay.
Mm.
So the men that they want to pray for fortune, pray for their crops, they would come and pay to the temple prostitutes, have sex with them.
Oh
And
my
because
gosh.
of that, their farm, their business was going to prosper. So the image of in that area,
Yeah.
the image of women being a leader, a spiritual leader, was very problematic.
Right.
So, what Paul was saying there, for this specific situation, right here, right now, and especially women not even educated to be able to teach it, let's
Right.
have the women keeping silence. But it's not across the board for
Right.
all of the churches, our generations, because we have women leading and doing all of that.
Mhm.
So, and the same thing, if we would go and look into the fabric situation, the mixed fabric
Mhm.
situation, if we look at the man lay with man and all of that, I'm not saying each one of them we would have to study individually, because some
Right.
of them are actually biblical. Okay,
Yeah.
some of them are real and it's supposed to be that way. However, others are out of context, and we
Right.
can't just put a blanket and say, oh, I agree with this, so I'm going to find parts of the passage,
Mhm.
parts of the Bible that agrees with me, you
Right, and
know?
I feel like that happens across the board sometimes, even not in religion. Like, I just moved out of this house, as you know, and they
Mhm.
gave me, like, a breakdown of what I owed on the house, and I was like, "Hmm, that makes no sense, that makes no sense, that makes no sense," and then they're bringing up things in the lease to make it work for them. I'm like, "But that's not what the lease says."
Mhm,
You
mhm,
know? So it's
mhm, mhm.
interesting, like, I do think that as a human, we kinda default to, "How can I make this information work for me?"
Yes,
You know?
yes.
So there
Mhm.
is a lot of misconstruing happening with the Bible, and a lot of misconstruing happening just in general with what our public knowledge is. And that's a whole other thing of what is being fed to us through the news versus what is actually happening. But I do think it's kind of similar in religion, and there are times where you find a church that is so great and so amazing, and you are fed the information correctly, and you are able to understand the Bible better. And then there are churches where, and I've seen them where they're like the Christian super churches where the pastor's rolling up in a Rolls Royce, got all this money, you know, and it's like there's differences. There's people looking for power and there's people looking for education. And I think that is like the biggest way where, and this is why I love having a friendship with you and a relationship with you, because you aren't somebody who is a pastor who is doing this for power. You're doing
All the
this.
money.
Yeah, right? No, you're doing this because you love it and because you believe so wholeheartedly in it. You want to also teach other people. That is what's beautiful about Christianity and any religion is people who want to teach it because they love it, not because they want the power, not because I want to be a priest because then I can do anything and I'm exonerated from hell, you know?
Yes. Yeah, and going back to what I started saying in the sense of if there is one God, why so many
Mm,
denominations?
yeah.
That is exactly where I went. I was like, if there is one God, I need to study scriptures away from a denomination that will
Mm,
try to convince me of their way. Because
right.
this is what happened. When I started that journey, I was like, it's gotta be one set of guidance. You can't have all of these different ideas. And I started like studying and eliminating what was not, because majority of the religions, unfortunately, they don't even understand how they started. Like they have
Yeah.
different ideas. They have, if you go to this area, they tell you that this is how they started. There's just a few religions that actually have like a guide. In that
Right.
case, it's the Jewish, the Muslims, and the Christians.
Right.
That they have like a set, they have a guidance that is written, in that case, like the Al Quran, the Torah, and the Bible.
Mhm.
And that's what I focus, and I started studying that. Anyways, it's too much for me to share now, but my point is, once I chose the Bible,
Mhm.
now I measure what comes to me, and either the attacks or either the whatever that people are bringing, I measure against the Bible. Is this
Right.
biblical? Is this not?
Mhm.
Because there are things that are genuine. There are things that they are just, and the worst part is that if we look throughout history,
Mhm.
Christians in the name of God have done atrocities. You know, look at the Crusades, look at it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're seeing that happening right now in our country.
Yeah, we
Again,
are, for sure.
again, history is repeating, and we are dumb enough to fall for it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the majority of the people that are coming heavy against me, it's the religious zealous. You know, it's the Pharisees of the time of Jesus, that they believe they have the truth, they know
Yeah.
everything, and they're not open. And for me, even if I don't agree with something, even if I don't agree with the lifestyle that the person is living, that is absolutely against what scripture says,
Mm.
I still have to look at the human.
Right.
I still have to care for that human, that God, Jesus loves this human, and Jesus is doing everything to help this person.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That is the important thing, I think, is we forget that we're human. We forget that we have everybody's situation is so different, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. And
Oh
and
my
that
goodness.
and that's one of the things that I started, because I'm not gonna lie, my first few years as a Christian, I was very legalistic.
Mm.
And I was like, it's because I came completely from hurt, from being
Yeah.
upset, and never having a family structure, never having structure. And I found this place that was very structured, very, and I
Mm.
wanted to go. I humans, we go from
Yeah,
one extreme to another extreme. We just go like
absolutely.
this, we don't know how to be balanced. And in my first few years as a Christian, I was very legalistic, drove my kids insane. Today, I believe that my kids are not in church with God because of my behavior, and I accepted
Mm.
the mistake that I made, and I'm trying to change. But my point is, I had this spirit of, I am better than thou, because
Mm.
I have God, I have the scriptures, now I understand this and I know it all. And I started judging people by
Yeah.
their lifestyle, by the way that they acted. And I think I had my true conversion later on.
Mm.
First I was converted into this box that I put God in it, and it was lack of understanding, you
Yeah.
know. And then later on, when I saw that Jesus is trying to save everyone, I start asking God, God, put in my heart love for these people.
Mm.
It doesn't matter how they live, help me love them. And
Right.
if there is an opportunity to share Jesus, I will,
Right.
because truly I do believe the salvation comes from Christ. This is
Mhm.
today, and I know it's hard because society today said our roads lead to Rome, our roads lead to God, and you're gonna be saved. Unfortunately, the Bible doesn't say that. I
Yeah.
wish it did. I wish it did. But if it is calling, like we were talking about before, like we may call different names, but it's the same God. If God is going to bring you that way, I don't know. That's why I can't judge, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
But I do believe the salvation only comes from God through Jesus Christ today. and I will do everything I can to help people. But
Mhm.
before, I need to love people like Jesus loves them. And that's all I'm asking God, help me
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think this is the longest podcast I ever did.
I love
And
it.
we're gonna end here in a good
Yes.
note, in a note of love. Do you have
Yes.
anything else that you wanted to share?
No, I mean, I'm just so happy to be a part of this. And now we're gonna have
Awesome.
to do a third and a fourth and a fifth because
Probably.
we could keep talking forever. But no, I love it. Like, this is a great way to have a conversation and to bring like two different minds together. Um,
Yes.
it would be very interesting to do one with multiple people. I'm curious to see like,
True.
like how that would work.
I think this system here allows me to have up to 10 people.
Oh, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
would be really cool.
we need to find people that can keep up with the
Yeah.
conversation like
Because
us.
I would love to get a perspective on everything with a completely different religion, you know?
Mm, mm,
Because I
that
would
would be
love to
interesting.
see, like, well, what does their scripture tell them? How do they feel about that, you know?
I would
Um,
love to do that. I don't mind doing that at all. Actually, would be very interesting. The only thing is we
yeah.
have to find people
Who are
that are
willing?
not only willing to do it, because a lot of people are willing to do it, but usually they accept because they want to attack the other one.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no.
And that's not the
Mm-mm.
point,
That's not the energy here.
Yeah,
No.
that's not the point. Karlee, this was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're
I
so
always
welcome.
love
Thank
talking
you.
to you,
Yes.
and I always have so much fun. So thank you, and definitely let's do this again.
Yes.